Oh, oh. And the track here is... I forgot the name. What the fuck? I don't know what that intro was, don't ask. Farkas Sound Team, I think, but I think it's a compilation of like covers, I could be mistaken, from melodies and harmonies, the two of E's in the name. The Ruined City of Kishgal, E7, is so fucking funky. Like, I can't even describe this track, it's actually so good. It's pretty much all synth instruments, and I love it. And also I love that it has this sort of Danganronpa feel to it as well, an 80s feel. Like that, the sort of descending, is it, I think it's ascending actually. Like that's the ascending sort of twinkly instrument, I don't know what to call it. I never could figure out how, and I thought it was like a synth block at first, but on second listen, I don't think it is. On like 13th listen, but the new headphones. I actually haven't listened to this on the new headphones. Megalomanias. Yeah. This track is so interesting. It's just so funky, it has a solo, it sort of mimics an electric guitar. And it just has a wide range of arrangements. Yeah, I find it fascinating. Yeah, I just love this track. It's such a fun listen. I feel like it's something that a lot of the sort of even, I don't know what you call them, like I guess normie gamers I'd call them, but normie music enjoyers could even like, because it's that good. Like, yes, it's an instrumental and not many people like it, but it is gold. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the first topic. Well, that was quite possibly one of the most disgusting things I've ever fucking had to do. Right after a colonoscopy. But I must be feeling low stress because I'm doing things I don't usually do. I clean up things. And as I do actually clean out my, what's it called? The wildlife bowl I leave out with water. And I do that obviously just to help the wildlife a bit, whoever it may be. And yeah, they drink out of it. I could tell because it's often gone when I get back to it. Sometimes in the same day, and other times a few days later. It's like they go out on missions, which is very interesting. But today I had to do something that was extremely gross because for some reason, whoever these are, I'm guessing it's a fox. Foxes, rather. I've seen 3 of them. They keep leaving a little present in the bowls. Luckily nothing dead, but it could be considered that. Literally shit. I'm not even joking, it's actual crap in the bowl. It's disgusting, there's water in there too, it's like, what? Like, shit is one thing, but shitty water? Like, no. Fuck off. It's so bad. And it absolutely stinks. It's happened before. I can't understand why they do that. And I've tried to look it up as well, and people just say that this just happens, or I even saw one trying to argue against giving water to wildlife, which amidst a drought. Like, what the fuck are you on about? Why are you saying that this is disproportionate to them when they cannot get access to clean or healthy water? And to be honest, I want to see wildlife in the garden. Like, what is your fucking problem? Yes, they leave behind a lot of mess sometimes, and it stinks, but, you know, every time that happens, I just sometimes wonder, we built on their homes, so the least we can do is help them out and accept them through there. They can use parts of the house, obviously, that we're not using, which oftentimes is the garden. Again, if you maybe have kids in there. Actually, next door do have, but they have a bird feeder, I think. But, you know, I'm thinking, as long as they keep it in here, you know, it's fine. You know, keep it away from the kids' straw, but, you know, the fact they're doing craps in my bowl is actually a good thing. At least it's one of the foxes, I don't know how many. But yeah, it's very interesting, but also really disgusting. I remember I had to throw out the shit, a bunch of flies on it, some alive and some dead, and I had to rush it into the fucking kitchen somehow and then wash out. And yeah, no, I was probably supposed to put shit in the bloody sink, but what were you supposed to do there? I don't have a hose pipe. Hose pipes are banned too. And there isn't really any other choice. We don't have a faucet outside. Like, what choice do I have? So I either clean it, leave it there forever, let nature somehow clean it, but it doesn't. It's really stuck on there as well, I found out, which is annoying. Or I just clean it out myself, and also cleaned it out myself. Took a few wipes with a kitchen towel. I decided the kitchen towel because it's more effective. Because sponges, you don't want that on your sponge. I don't. And yeah, it did stink out the house for like a minute or so. And then once it was cleaned, obviously I threw away obviously tissues, and obviously wearing gloves the whole time. I get these disposable gloves. I can't remember what they're called actually, but they're made of like sugarcane. So decompostable. Amazing gloves. They do work for that, surprisingly. Like, nothing on my fingers. I don't smell anything. I could only smell soap, but that's it. You know, it's stronger than the soap anyway, shit, so you would know if it was on there. But yeah, I cleaned it up and just, you know, put water in it, fresh water, and put it out there. I did sort of splash the shit to help it sort of decompose a bit. I don't know if that'll help. But I don't know. Obviously, I put the shit in the grass. But yeah, that was absolutely gross. I don't want to do that, to be honest. It's so disgusting. I might get dedicated gloves for that sort of stuff. Like, and I've also decided to clean my shirt because I don't know. I can't feel anything on my arms, which is good. I couldn't smell anything. No. I'm usually quite sensitive to smell. Yeah, I can smell my deodorant now as I move my arm up. So yeah, I can't tell if there's anything, and on my shorts is the only pair I've got, so it's all tough shit if there's any on there. No, I don't smell anything. I think there were a bit of like a few splashes in the kitchen, but I don't know. It's hard to identify because the kitchen has such a shit design. The floor is terrible. It's like grey, you can't tell unless something is like reflected. It's terrible. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what else. I don't know, I've obviously talked about everything about helping the wildlife, and I have heard them around here before. The foxes, I had them doing clicking the other night, which is probably when the shit happens. I've heard them do their like human dying scream. It's always very strange. What else do they do? Yeah, they appeared on camera briefly, but I only saw 3 of them. Don't know if there's any more. There probably is. It's also just very nice to see though. I'm trying to think what else. I can't figure out anything or other. So yeah, I think that it's definitely rewarding in a way. It's almost like growing plants, I suppose, but growing animals, obviously. When ecosystem collapses on the rise and more likely to happen, I think all these little things can probably help for the most part. You know, if birds get into it, why not? If cats get into the water, why not? To be honest, that shouldn't be cats, but we do see cats in my garden quite a few times actually. I think we have one with a tuxedo fur. There's another that's just completely black that just moved in, I think. I don't really see many other cats. Yeah, I'm quite fascinated by this, and obviously I keep close eyes on stuff if I can. Yeah, just want to talk about this. It's a bit of hell, really. let's move on. One of the other dystopias I wonder that we might see is probably one related to basically having jobs relating to literally stealing. I'm not even joking. Because what I think is very bad about the current situation around PC hardware especially, but also the lack of money in the economy, is we might even just see people start to go into AI data centers, probably disguised to be fair, because that's like the easiest way I think. I say I think, I've never actually been to an AI data center so I wouldn't know, but I literally think that might happen. It's a reality at this point, and you have to recognise that because that's what's going to happen from now on. There are going to be so little jobs to go around to give people money, give opportunities for money and work, that literally happen. I've no doubt. Are we even surprised at this point? It legitimately seems like the thing that will happen, because that's what goes on there. Like, there is no other choice. So it becomes a no-brainer, essentially. So yeah, like, what do I even say other than that? It's just so bizarre, and I can't really comprehend like the reasoning behind this. Just so terrible at this point. And I was looking at RAM, and I got suggested this team group RAM, and it still exists somewhere, but it's very hard to find. And just because it's cheapest doesn't mean it's like the best. And then I found out it's UDIM, and I don't know what that is. Turns out I'm bad for memory, and apparently it's better for performance, but I don't really trust it, to be fair. I guess I'll look at some tests and stuff, but reliability is more of an issue for me. I was to see like UDIM, SODIM, maybe Zach's Tech Turf has an explanation on this, but yeah, maybe there is something. So let's see, DIM versus SODIM. Someone put Uncle Winston. I don't know who that is. It's a UDD actually, UDD video Schwartz and Zach. Yeah. So yeah, well, I guess I have to do research on this to kind of figure out what I need to get at. But that is like such a annoying and confusing sort of aspect. It seems. It feels like there ain't really going to be many opportunities to get good stuff now. Once again, because of this shit, because of the crisis we're in at the moment, and not having opportunities to get around it. It just feels so scummy at the moment. Yet I feel like this will be a new job. It would be to break into data centers and steal the RAM and sell it. It'll be profitable, I can tell you that much. Depending on how much they use, it is literally going to be one of the most profitable things you can have. Like, imagine how much you can get at a time. Hell, even just steal the motherboards. And you get the fucking entire thing. You get whatever like storage they're possibly using. Maybe they're using NVMe's. But they're always using RAM, they're always using CPUs, and so you've got a market there. It's possible that they may be repurposed and useless as a result. I think that's a risk that people would be willing to take. Again, it feels very concerning. We will see that issue. So I just found out Pokemon Sun and Moon has its search term for moves, because I was looking for a way to fly. I'm trying to find a way to cross the islands to see whether I move around, to see if I can find any source images or reference images to get by. It highlights, puts them in black, but I don't want to swimmer. Let's use Grandpa. Must have used Rant a bit, level 45. Oh, who else? R2. I think I used R2 actually. R2 is 65. I don't know why I used R2, not sure. Strange Pokemon to use there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I get very annoyed about this, and because I'm planning on building a computer soon, and yes, it's the worst time to build a computer, but what am I supposed to do? This one is going to fucking die at any moment, and I don't have any money. I don't have any choice in this, which is the worst part. Because if I could wait, I would, but I don't have any certainty here. If I can wait until late 2027 or something, when they say it would be better, then I don't know. Yeah, I'm just worried about this all. It genuinely feels like we're in a lot of danger here. I don't really know what to do. So yeah. Don't really know what else there is. That's something I'm gonna have to explore. It says that I can't fly in Ultra Sun. It's been so long since I've been here. Jesus, is that Lily? Oh god, I've encountered a wild Pokemon. I swear, if this is a shiny. No, it's just Licky Town. Yeah, again, it's so annoying, I need to move on. So, I've used LibreOffice just over a week now. And I've had some more things to say, some positive, some negative. It gotta surprise me, but it works, I'll say that. And I think I'll keep on using it, because I think it is still far more superior to Word, in most ways than one. But where Word really fails is it just piles on so much slop and then it crashes. And it crashes a lot. But LibreOffice barely crashes. It's only crashed once in my time of using it. And the only really annoying issues I found, the two ones so far, is that I was trying to remember what the other one was, but I think one of them was... I forgot that as well. Fuck. That's really annoying. Because there is something there. No, but I think I am finding it usable. What I said, one of them. One of them was when I wanted to basically be able to open it up after restarting my computer, because I thought the recovery thing is useful. It is very useful for recovering things, but it for some reason decided not to list like half the ones I had open, which is bizarre, because I had more open than that, and then when I opened them back up after to replace them, obviously it decided to close them. Huh? So why did it close them for some reason? Very strange, I've never experienced that before. So I've no idea what that's about. Is that why Vivaldi keeps recommending that shit? For some reason, booking is... there's all these fucking links on speed dial for some stupid reason. Like, fuck off. What joke. But that's the thing with this. I still like it, despite that issue. I think there is another one, but I just can't remember what it was for some reason. But yeah, so far I've got some new notes as well to say. Also, I've got to update my Pokemon BDSP. Collectors have a weird collection of Pokemon. Yep, literally. I thought one was like 3 Rivers Elias or something. What the fuck is going on here? Anyway, the positives. I found more positives. I can't remember if I mentioned the red save icon indicating when not saved. It's very useful, because that will save your skin if you ever edit something and you maybe need to restart and you maybe forgot what you saved. Just open up the little windows and stuff, you know, you just hover over them and you just see like whether they've got that or not, or you can just see it in colour. It entirely depends. Yeah, the recover list is useful, as I said. The only issue is it resets the toolbar for some reason. having it closed. Pretty cool. And customizing. I can move both windows and no locking in. I can't remember what I meant by that. I had a feeling I'd forget what this was. Move both windows, no locking in. Oh, that's it. Yeah, when you're customizing things, a lot of the time it'll basically say that you can't customize it. Like Microsoft Word, typically when you open a settings menu, it'll just go, just does that fucking annoying notification, like piss off. I'm trying to edit and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing in the background. Yeah, that really annoys me. So that ends up being an issue. But here it's not a problem. It lets you edit it. It's not saying you can't. Next thing, pressing the hotkey, customize keyboard takes you straight to the hotkey. Yeah, that's also really cool. I noticed a lot of software doesn't now even do that. Whenever you like try to find a hotkey, you can't often search for it, and so you have to like manually do it. But here, you just you press it, and it shows up, which is excellent. So that's really helpful to figure out what's causing the issue. It's a really good diagnostic tool, like insanely good. I can't believe that. I find out if you're typing something weird and then that happens. And also, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I managed to find a way to enable lists. I'll write that down just in case. Found a way to enable this, because I was figuring out how to make another, like, quote unquote list. It's more like a bullet point, but a list is what it's called here. And it was really hard to figure out because I didn't understand what was going on. Word had it, but this doesn't for some reason. So it's really annoying to type dash and then have a press space. Can you do dot and space, and that makes a bullet point? Very interested. Let's see. No. So there's only dash for some reason. I wonder how you do bullet point then. I wonder what works for that. It's interesting. O maybe? No. I don't know. But it only works with the dash icon for some reason. The dash character. It's very weird. That's for sure. But yeah, I do like it. Again, it's great that it's an option anyway, even though it's a bit annoying that it's not enabled by default, which it should be in my opinion. It's good, there's that. Next thing, I can see the potential of this being open source. Like, I feel like there should be a way to customize everything to have each window be color coded. Because I think when it comes to things that I do, I want to know what I'm looking at without obviously seeing just the same screen. This is more like a speculation sort of thing, but for example, I have a journal here, my story has like 3 documents open for that, and then a notes list, and then a game thing, and then music, and finally a series. And I want to know which each of these are by colour code, because I do that in sticky notes. I know that green is music, yellow is... what is yellow artwork, I think? No, it's actually original music, I'm wrong. And then blue is like actual music I want to make, or try to make anyway. But this is how I just deal with things, and having the colour coding is useful. It is surprisingly useful. So I do have that likeness for it, I suppose. Yeah, there's another thing as well. I tried to save icon, already said that. It didn't pass the restart test, so that was more of a negative. I'll move that. But yeah, so far so good. I'm still finding it quite good. I haven't really tested it properly yet. I haven't really had to do much yet to change things or edit things. It's not really asked, and because I did ODT format, it seems to be fine, I think. So it doesn't harass me constantly about that, which is great. Yeah, I prefer LibreOffice over Word. It just goes without saying. It used to be quite unreliable on my old system, with like probably DDR3 RAM and fucking i5 something from like the 5th generation, I think it was. God, that was old. It somehow didn't get bottlenecked in gaming. It's just bizarre because I had a GTX 970 paired with that. But they got a better CPU later on, actually, to be fair. Or maybe that was the CPU. Yeah, that might be a point. Remember when quad core used to be the standard for gaming, and now it's like 8 core. Brilliant. But yeah, it's more of a GPU thing these days. Yeah, especially for 4040p gaming, which I am. Team 4040p, aka more expensive. Yeah, I'm surprised that people don't realise that, actually, when they're building a gaming system. 4040p is more expensive if the video card itself does sort of, yeah, if the card is like, I don't know, I'm trying to find a way to explain it. It needs to be a bit better, exactly, but it doesn't need to be the best, that's the only thing. So they should consider the 9060 XT as a 4040p gaming card. And it's tempting because at this point, the price point and stuff, you know, I don't need too much on my system. And admittedly, it's annoying to have. I want a triple fan version of a 9060, but I wouldn't want any dual fan because it's too small for the system as well. It's embarrassing actually when you see it like that. Oh my god, I'm going to have to look into it again, aren't I? More fucking time wasting. I've already wasted so much time today. Did some exercise and all work, and then I got sidetracked by something, and then sidetracked by another thing, sidetracked by another thing. Toilet issues as well, still have them. Thought I'd be clean after laxatives, but no. Get gurgling still in my intestines, which is, I don't know if it's good. Get stomach aches as well, which is kind of worrying. Oh, there's more. I don't know if I just don't call them colon aches or something. Colics. Something like that. Yeah, there's always a tangent into hardware. It's just one of these topics I'm quite passionate about this at the moment. I feel kind of confident in building a system. I think I would need to reference things properly, like a step-by-step guide. In fact, there has to be like a page, right? Step-by-step PC building guide with images. Wonder. Intel. How to build a gaming PC. Interesting that they made one of these. Maybe because they have GPU, why is it just called about blank? Sure. Thanks, Internet. MSI. I don't like MSI. They have a very bad reputation. If you've ever looked into their sort of issues like the marketing and stuff, and also their boards and whatever, things go wrong, it's not great. I don't think I'd ever trust an MSI. Also, this isn't really a part guide, a build guide. Oh, yes, it's okay. It's kind of handy. Control B. No, that's not it. How do I bookmark things again? My system. Control D. No. F4. No. There's not there actually. I'm dumb. And let's put it somewhere. I don't know. Just put in bookmarks, I suppose. And that's. What else? Sorry for the fucking tangent again. I don't know what's wrong with hardware. There we go. That's good. Yeah, this looks kind of handy to be honest. There's like multiple images, there's like 3 images per one, and I can follow that. Yes, I'm a picture book sort of person, exactly. I can read, but it's difficult. I need the concentration and the mindset, and also just the room for that sort of thing. So power even. They didn't even cover the power supply stuff, I don't think. Connecting. Oh, they did actually, it's on the list. Yeah, I like this guide. Not bad. They also have a YouTube video. They have YouTube videos for each one, I think, which is kind of nuts. Wow. Huh. That's why I'm quite enthusiastic about it. So yeah, anyway, let's move on. Well, it's about fucking time. Finally, a few days where I don't have to use an aircon. Yeah, today has been pretty nice actually. The temperature's been neutral. I woke up to a 23-degree room today, which is nice. It's a nice change because I'm so fed up of just previously getting, you know, 26, 27 degree rooms when I wake up. Well, mostly in my bedroom, 26, so yeah, mean. But yeah, finally the heat wave is settling, question mark. Did see there may be another one at some point, El Nino I think might be one. Don't know exactly, I don't actually know how that works, El Nino. Yeah, it's one of these things. You start to appreciate those small things, I guess, and even now. It's night time and the room's at 26 degrees, it's nice. It's not stupidly hot, which is where it becomes an issue. So yeah, that's very weird. Also it's bug again. It's fuck. It's so weird. Yeah. It's also just much nicer being it's cooler now. And also just during the day it's so much better with my computer. Just find it absolutely unbearable when there's so much of this fucking heat. And I'm worrying more about the actual sort of state of the world now that the heat's here and it's possibly irreversible. We should be ideally putting a cap on it. So that's like the best solution, and I don't see anybody ever talking about that. And, you know, people want to selfishly consume their fucking fast food and shit, knowing it destroys the planet. You know, causes people with more. That's that. It should be taken every avenue you can, and to be honest, it's not like a black and white thing. It's a gradient, and that's the way I've started to describe things lately. The gradient is a better way to explain things because it happens to be that there is a bit of bad that we do on all sides. So ideally we should be obviously white, you know, in the white zone. So that means people who are just doing the morally correct thing most of the time. And that'd be like before it borders grey and whatever scientifically is grey. So yeah, it just ends up being that. So whatever's less morally grey and morally black, the better. It's just so much better for everyone else. So that's important. And like the reason I went to McDonald's knowing that I hadn't been there for over a year is probably again based on treating myself. It's a food I previously enjoyed at my plant. So yeah, it's just it's very weird, but I find it quite frustrating that nobody pays attention, nobody listens to this shit anymore. I've even said it for years. I've literally said for so fucking many years now that we need to address this issue, we need to address climate change before it becomes a bigger issue. And it's become a bigger issue and nobody's still doing anything. They're still doing nothing. So we're getting fucked. Like, great. Thanks, guys. It just really sucks. And I just dread next summer, and you know, I'm going to need to get type of heating. But again, the worst part is yet to come because that's going to be. Well, currently we have a lack of rain, and then we need to address the lack of crops, and also it's getting dark now, so I think summer's actually going. Just thank fuck. I can't wait for that to go. I don't actually know when seasons change. It's a weird thing about me. I know so little about seasons. It actually took me years to learn dates. So dates, or yeah, dates, yeah, not rather, not dates. It took me so long to learn that because it is like a sort of challenging thing in my mindset of learning delays. Yeah, I can wrap my head around climate science a bit of it anyway. It's just crazy. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. I also need to close my fucking curtains, so I'm exposed. Oh, hi, neighbour. So yeah, anyway, I shall move on. Well, I said there wasn't going to be many more, but there is another one. There's another PC thing again. Literally, talking about figuring out some stuff. I'm also going to discriminate against range DPS here, or DPS in general. It's a bit random, I don't know. So yeah, basically the thing that my PC situation with the things I'm looking for on the round stuff, I've decided on a different case obviously, but it's still a mesh by 3, it's just the white case. I probably mentioned that before. I was thinking about it earlier and I thought, you know, I'm not fussed about RGB, but even though they do a version without, I'll just go with it anyway and see what happens. Because you never know. It might just be a nice little touch to have. And then I was thinking, if it's the only the front has it, then what's the point? Well, genuinely, I don't know if there's any point to that, to just have RGB on the front. So I figured out as well that I might as well just go into more things with this. So the next thing I decided to do, and I realised earlier, only today, is that I should get a fan that is the same as these. And it's called, I think it's a fractal momentum. No, not fractal. Wait, is it? Fractal Mishra? Yeah, fractal. Yeah, I think it's a fractal momentum. And that's the fan that's going to be paired with it. Which I think is really interesting. I think that will definitely it'll make a difference for sure. But having that on the back instead, it's very interesting. Happiness juice. Okay, let's trade some Coke. Yep. Okay. Sure. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah. Let me drink it. I'm sorry. Get distracted. Oh god, it's killing me. Dead. Yeah, anyway. Fucking interactions. But yeah, I find it interesting. Just this whole PC stuff, because I'm not for aesthetics, and I've figured out that actually I can do something with aesthetics. I can do like a sort of black and white setup with it, even though like a portion of it is just black, but it's mainly the motherboard. And I think it'd be very interesting to sort of explore that. I wonder if there's a way to visualise it. But yeah, like the parts, obviously still 270k, getting knocked to a black fan tower this time. The NHD, is it? Yeah, NHD's 15 G2. Obviously it's going to be the black colour. And also they should make more of them. They should make white ones as well. I think they'd sell pretty good. Unless the white ones are heavier in paint somehow. I think that'd be nice to have. Again, I'd prefer an air cooler because the AMO I've had is shite. Yeah, even though it's more spacious, it's still not great. Just much rather a tower cooler. It's just safer. And I had a tower cooler for 8 years, I think, on that point. It's just something better. Still the Gigabyte Z890 Aorus Master, but still also just the standard motherboard there. Then probably a type of RAM kit with white on it, just to mix and match it. Still the same storage. Video card will be very interesting. I actually decided to go to a 9060 XT just because I am not fussed about maxing out the settings. I don't know if people realise this, I care about 4040p gaming, but I don't care that much. Like, what's the fucking point? I don't need to max the settings to have a good time in a game. Whilst it's cool to look at, it's only something you barely notice from the gameplay perspective. So it's just pointless to actually get invested into that side of it, where you go min-max with it. Hang on, is it 16GB? Yeah, it is. I was tempted to rather try the Eston model with Sakura. as I have definitely heard about Yeston from Gamers Nexus. And they are very interesting cards, to say the least. I think they had a really good intro to one, and I saw again recently. It was recommended, and it's like a fucking goofy ass anime show. Steve playing with the cards like there's some sort of figurines. It's brilliant. I love Gamers Nexus. Gamers Nexus, what? But yeah, I'll go with XFX Mercury OC, I think, a white version. It seems like a decent choice, I think. You know, it's maybe a bit off, but I don't know. I might go with black. I don't know how to visualise it really. It's hard to see, I guess, unless I see it in a build. It's kind of hard to know. XFX Mercury, let's look it up. Images. There's got the black ones as well. What we just do about the green build. But also the reason I want to pick that is because even though I'm not fussed about visuals, I do kind of care a bit, because it looks a bit out of place in the Meshify because of the length of the case, and I figured why not get the longest one? Like, it's 30 centimeters, so it needs to have a decent amount of usage in the space. So I think it'd be pretty cool. I can't find any builds, so just a black one. It looks fairly sized. I think it's theirs anyway. Can't tell. Yeah, it's quite big though, which is interesting. For sure, I'm gonna try the Mercury. But yeah, that's my updates and changing the video in PSU, obviously. I think that's just gonna be a thing, and the PSU will be just as it goes, really. There's not really anything big. I suppose unless I got an AIO caller, but even then I'm still not fussed about AIOs. And people will weirdly enough say it's overkill to go with like a Noctua fan, but what do I go with then? The thing is, there aren't suggestions out there. I've looked several times and there's only AIO callers and Noctua. So I don't understand exactly what they mean when they say it's overkill. I feel a bit lost in that. But anyway, I think that's a cool sort of update. Just going with a themed build, and the RGB will also provide a colour. It's sort of like it's like that art technique. I forgot what it's called now. Is it 20-40-40 or something? It's like a weird sort of series of numbers that actually makes a really good sort of colour pattern. I think it'd be very interesting to explore that with RGB, and I know that they have like I think it's a thing on their website, or a web page rather, that you can actually edit the RGB, which is cool. And also with the momentum there, the momentum fan, that will add to that. But yeah, I also chose that case. I want to explain that. I chose the Meshify 3 because of the high rating and high praise I got from Gamers Nexus, and also I have the exhaust fan there for that reason, the extra fan, that momentum. If people might wonder why I went with that instead of like the other stuff, the other cases, like the I think it's a NZXT case or Heights, it's either one of them. And one of them has like a screen on the corner, which is neat, but is it necessary? Not really. I'll be honest. A lot of these things people think they need, but they don't. I think this is like a perfect example. RGB you don't need. You can live without it, and I considered it for a while. But again, I want to experiment. I want to try with RGB, because I also just want to attract less attention. You could definitely do fine without it, and that's what my current system is. It has like 2 RGB elements and 1 white light, but that's it. But 1 RGB isn't even customizable because it's glitchy as fuck on the motherboard, and the video card I don't customize because it bugs out all the time. So there's no point. And it still flashes on there. It's just going through the colours. But But yeah, and the other thing with cases is you don't need a fucking giant case. Like, Jesus Christ. The more tempered glass you have on it, the more likely it's going to go wrong. I'll be honest. And then the side intake fans, I'm not a fan of. I don't know how effective they are. Obviously, I'd have to see. I've seen Games Nexus review them, but I can't remember the conclusion. They don't look very efficient for airflow, so I just don't like them. They're very cliche, and that's what I find with a lot of the cases I see that gamers have. They're so cliche, it's like, okay, I've seen this before. There's nothing here that amazes me. The only ones that do tend to be like sleeper builds, and even then the small form factors and ITX cases and stuff, they fascinate me more than the gamer cases do, because it's interesting to see what you can fit into one like little fucking case. And even then, I've seen mini PCs be hooked up with is it an iGPU? I can't remember what they're called. It's like an external GPU that you can plug in to, I think it's USB or something. Something that acts like a PCIe. They do work, and it's fascinating that you can do that. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. So yeah, don't really know what else to add. To be honest, I think it's just an interesting conversation for PC stuff. You know, the RAM 2x24 gigabytes, 7200 megahertz CS, CAL latency is, I can't remember what it's called now. I think it's CAS, about 36 as the maximum or minimum. Yeah, I think the minimum, and then you don't really have a max with latency. Just the lower the better, I think. But yeah, that's about it, so let's move on. If you're an organisation, do this fucking thing right now. I saw another thing from Greenpeace, and yeah, I'm a supporter of them, but I have to say sometimes the delivery on things is just shite. There's this thing that I saw which kind of made me scratch my chin a bit, thinking this maybe isn't the best way to go about it, but apparently Reform on Kent has like just voted to destroy 100 acres of ancient woodland for a new quarry because they don't give a damn about nature. This is just a straw man. Like, I get it that they are most likely anti-nature, anti-environment and stuff, but if that's their position for this, then I genuinely don't understand how this is going to help. Because that is very much a fucking straw man. You're attacking them for not caring about nature. But again, I get it. They do not care. But this isn't the reason why they're doing it, is it? And as far as I'm aware, until we know the actual reason, there's no point. And they say in the description here, I don't know if it's actually has said anything. Shocking to zero move from Kent Council just shows what would happen if we voted against government. Their plans to frack the countryside, drill for more fossil fuels in the ocean, and scrap vital protections of vulnerable species, which spells disaster for the UK treasure of wildlife and ecosystems. We have to get organised now to stop their attacks on our nature. Please take 10 seconds to sign a petition to stop reforms vandalism. But I have to question what it is. What is this quarry for? But you have to provide the explanation if you have it, of course, because I think that's really important. If they're only doing this quarry, which no doubt is a big thing anyway, what is it for? If I don't know if they're probably mining for gold, I don't know how easy that is or difficult. But I say it's for something like computers. Like, you never know, it could be. And it is a good thing to have. Maybe they hate that it destroys the environment, but assuming you can find that sort of stuff reliably and do it quickly, also without much cost to the environment, then that's good. But I really don't understand why organisations feel the need to just ignore a reason behind these things, like as has done here with Greenpeace. It feels very shy and very lazy too. And again, I just can't appreciate that there's like a straw man here. It is literally a straw man fantasy. So I don't even know what to say. I wouldn't say it's shocking, but sort of unsurprising in some ways. Because I just want to get to the truth of things. And it's not a very good reason to say it's like they don't care about nature. Like, we already know that. But what's the actual motivation here? Like, why are they doing this supposed crime? That is the question. Until there's evidence, we shouldn't be putting words in their mouth. I just think that's wrong. And it's the same way that they actually do to us, to be fair, but ironically, at least we actually provide evidence for the things that they're doing wrong. And we actually do have sources for the things that they're doing wrong. It's all out there. You can prove that they're all corrupt in every form, among many other things. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I just think this is incredibly silly. Yeah, let's move on. So, I decided to look at what my diet was like and my exercise, because I'm trying to get advice to lose weight a bit. I don't want a ton, but I just think, it's so fucking weird. I wonder what's causing me to not be able to, do as much as I want to. But I want to figure out exactly how much I'm getting in and how much I'm burning. And I don't really know exactly how much I am doing, because I don't know what I need to do. I want to make muscle, but I don't want to just become really thin again. So I find it a bit complicated. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I just found out the calories so quick. It's quite a shocking amount, actually. Yeah. I did some stuff on Chronometer. Apparently I didn't have an account, which I think is wrong, because I do have one. It seems it's forgotten. But I've got everything here. Veg1 Orange, multivitamin tablet, Hornvits, omega-3 soft gel capsules. And that's what my vitamins are like. But for breakfast, I get tea. Usually I'll have that. I forgot to add the milk, but it doesn't really matter. Actually, it does for the vitamins, of course. I have a vanilla barista at the moment, but I don't know if that's on here. Because it's actually unsweetened, so that's what I fucking love about it. So it's not like stupidly unhealthy. It's on here, okay. I have about 200 millilitres of that per day. That goes into breakfast. And the cup of tea can actually go down. I usually have like 1.5 of that. Running me to have some weird scuffy stuff on it sometimes. Is it 1.25 or is it 1.35? What's going on? 1.35, okay. Yeah, well, that's a big deal. 1.35, it won't let me change it, it just says add to door and then you have to remove it. For some fucking reason. It's so dumb. They literally have some of the dumbest interfaces, it seems. And also, that doesn't seem right. And why does 1.5 say 3.2 calories and then... Because I'm looking at the wrong thing. So, that's 36 item, yes. Anyway, that's my tea, and I have like, I don't know, some Yorkshire tea stuff or Twinings. I have some normal Twinings. breakfasty, and then porridge oats in the morning, half a cup, medium banana, mixed berries unsweetened, 0.25, well, a quarter cup, raisins, a quarter cup, Nature's Balance organic flaxseed, I think I get 6 grams of it a day, and chocolate oat milk, I have a cup of that in with that, peanut butter, about 2 tablespoons usually. Lunch I have like a drink, Pepsi Max, and coconut noodles, mushroom or kimchi, as I'll have them hopefully soon. I don't actually know where that is at the moment. I ordered some, but it's not arriving. So I'm missing, I think, who made it. It's really nice. Then Seabrook Original Crisps. I usually have like 2 packs, but sometimes it'll be 1, it depends on the size. Then after that I'll do treadmill. They're about 91, 15 minutes, about moderate. I don't know what moderate is exactly. I don't know, I can't figure that out. It's about 1.8 to 2.2 speed. Then we go to dinner. I have 1 Beyond Meat burger, sometimes bread. That's not really a big thing. McCain's home chip straight cut. I have a handful or 2. Depends on what I'm trying to fill the gap with. If it's not bread, then I'll have more chips. And I'll have 5 bean salad with that usually. It's just nice. I have something on top of that, and then I add like a few slices to the Beyond Burger. And then I do quote unquote circuit training. I don't know if this is the right thing though. It's just my weights. And then I might treat myself to a chocolate ball. But only a few things. It says 3 times Stoiken. Don't know what that means. I have like 3 to 6 bars, blocks over, and that amounts to 2,063 calories consumed. Expenditure 3,061. So according to this, I'm supposed to be losing weight. Nope, that's not happening. And apparently I'm supposed to meet my calorie target, but how? I don't understand. And then look at vitamins. A lot of them I'm getting a lot, like plenty. Energy is 6, 7. Oh god, no. Water I'm getting enough of. It keeps changing it for some reason. I did add it, but it keeps removing it for some reason. But I do get like 2.7 litres a day. Yeah, I've not like actually just drinking water. And then obviously the teas and stuff are counted in that. Not in that same total, rather separately, I mean. And the Pepsi Max too. Like, would be like normal sugar if I didn't have. Well, I do still have some. Get enough carbs, enough fat. 93% apparently. Not sure if that's good or not. Protein 30% apparently. It's 56 grams. I'm not sure about that. Okay, 1,229% B12. I'll just list out the ones that aren't high. So everything is like 100% or above, except for B5, 69%, vitamin A, 7%, vitamin C, 54%, vitamin E, 22%, vitamin K, 6%, calcium, 74%. I'm kind of surprised by calcium actually. I get plenty of it. There's tons of it in the milks and stuff. Then magnesium I get 63%, phosphorus I get 63%, potassium 56%. The Beyond Meat burger has more potassium than a banana, what the fuck? Okay, that's cursed knowledge. Zinc 89%. So yeah, I think I'm doing alright for a lot of this, it seems, and people are telling me on Reddit, I checked into beginner fitness, they were saying it's apparently a decent amount of exercise, and I haven't mentioned diet to be fair in that one comment, but I never did, and I've listed it, but I don't know, for some reason people aren't good at paying attention to anything. I find it a bit strange. Yeah, I try to be healthy. It's just my gimmick really. It's just, what I try to do. But you know, getting 71% fibre, which is pretty good. I guess the vitamin E, I like about 60% all nutrition targets. Not sure what else I can really do, to be honest, with this. So where's folate? Getting enough omega-3s. So it's DHA and it's not saying I'm getting any of that, which is weird. So I'm starting to think they may be misrepresenting things. Sugar, 85 grams a day? What? How? There's more sugar in the raisins than there is oat milk. That's weird. Huh. That's not good. Also, that's well above the recommended, isn't it? So I don't know. Because I feel like I'm not even getting much sugar. My teeth barely hurt now. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's interesting to look at this though. Not the best thing, but it's a thing. Sometimes lunch will be a sandwich and dinner sometimes will be a curry with tofu. I was imagining the tofu would be a lot better. I think the things in this diary that I need to copy and redo again. Okay, I can copy to. Okay, that's interesting. I'll have to do that, but yeah, I'm just trying to be just healthier. That's it, really. But yeah, even though I'm under the calorie limit, I'm just like, why does it matter at this point? And the main thing as well is I want to get sleep under wraps. I need to mention that, to be fair. I think sleep is one of my main issues at the moment, and I don't get enough of it. I had 2 days of 4 hours sleep, and then last night I had about 7 hours sleep, which is a good change. But I'm just struggling, it seems. There isn't really a lot I can do about this because of my time limitations and my physical health. Does physical health even count? Like, would ulcerative colitis be something on here? Like, what about exercise? Exercise, ulcerative, no. Pooping? No. Urinating? Because the thing is, also do squats, if you want. Squash? No, that's not it. Major circuit training then. But I do some like squats here and there, about 10-15 minutes I guess. I guess it's considered hard, but I'm so used to it doesn't matter, so I had that I'm categorised. Yeah, I'm working at this deficit as well, it seems, so I am doing stuff, if that's even a thing. I'm really trying my best, I'm not lying about this, so I'm doing everything I can within my abilities and within a way I can enjoy it. Again, running on the treadmill, playing a game, easy enough to do. Going out places and trying food if I'm not agoraphobic, it's fine, I could do that. But then there's also weightlifting, which I do 2 times a week with as many sets as I can do. Usually like 15-20 minute session, depends on how many reps. And yeah, I'm just doing everything, and then I'll do wash up. I walk around the house a lot as well. I found that is a thing as well, to walking. General walking. Effort light. Let's say, I don't know, how much would I do per day? I'll say like anywhere from 10 to like 15 minutes, so I guess the middle ground would be 18 minutes, and that's 82 calories, 88 calories burnt. Yeah, I try to micromanage a lot of these things too. Not min-max, but manage. That's why I wash up my hands. There's a bit of pressure and there's a bit of movement, and that's good for your body. And the same with like squatting and stuff, you have opportunities to do that, you probably could do it. Again, like masturbating probably does something for me as well. I know I've worked my arm before like that. And there's even one day last month, I think, it's like a heat wave for some reason. I stupidly fucking played with myself for like 3 hours or so. Ugh. And that was like extremely sweaty. I've never sweated that much in my life. Literally dripping with the stuff. It got everywhere and I stunk. Just, that was a thing. Optimal, but sure. Anyway, let's move on. You know, I think one of the biggest winners in the hardware space at the moment will be whoever makes it so that their hardware is cheaper. And I think that is genuinely true. Because in this current economy, with everything being so stupidly priced, I think the only ones who will win in that situation are obviously the ones who make things the cheapest. So that applies to RAM companies, SSDs, and even video cards. And just wherever else it may be. Sorry. But I got thinking about this because of a thing that the Arctic CEO, I think it was, maybe? Someone from Arctic said. The company, not the continent. But they basically said that they want to... basically, I think it's like not profiting off the cards and instead using it to help PC builders and stuff and grassroots PC stuff. And I think that's great. I think companies like that will obviously succeed in the long run, do far better than any other company out there. Because what we're lacking at the moment is just common decency. There's nobody out there that's doing this sort of thing. And the fact it's taken this long to even see it, and in like what the 10 years I've been into computing and stuff, it's just nuts. And oftentimes you hear like constant controversies like, this is one of the only good things I've heard in the last like in 10 years. Meanwhile I've heard of other clusterfucks like MSI's branding, and I think there was like a motherboard issue as well. And there was the ASRock motherboard issue. Then pre-built computer issues, which they didn't even address. And then there's like the NZXT cases that caught fire, I think. It's all a big clusterfuck. Like a lot of these companies didn't actually do damage control or do anything to benefit their customers or consumer. So it resulted in backlash, obviously, and then obviously people have lost trust with them. That's why I go with components from at least a brand I can semi-trust. You know, I'm not sure about Gigabyte, but I'll happily have Gigabyte. I've had a Gigabyte GPU, and it's worked okay, even though it's a bit broken. But that's the thing here. I think you need a brand that you can trust and also just get on board with a bit more. Whenever they address a controversy, it has to be done properly, and the fact we don't have many of them, it's just baffling, as in the people who address it properly, the companies. So yeah, I think it's really a big missed opportunity, and there's someone in the comments of this UFD tech video said, short actually, companies need to care about future buyers instead of the current ones, because that's what's going to impact things in the long run. You know, people are going to want to support something like Arctic now because they offer a decent like setup. Like the liquid cooler is still very popular, and I think it is still one of the most cooling ones there. I don't know how to describe it exactly. I think it's a thing anyway. So that will have a long-lasting impact. That will grab attention. That will get people thinking. No doubt. People really need to pay attention to that too, because if we're not supporting that, then we're not supporting a better industry. And I think if you can make it a normal thing to have it so that you invest these things or whatever it is, that you actually make it possible to have an industry to begin with. Because at the moment, everything is exclusive to AI, and that really sucks. And personal hardware and computing is just going away. So the moment a company comes out and says, you know what, enough is enough, we're going to make it affordable and only support those who are enthusiastic. So they actually do like damage control, where they obviously start to question people on why they want these builds and stuff, and if they get approved, then yeah, they win, obviously. But I think that's the way you do it. That way people who actually have builders' experience and knowledge can actually get the advantage, and it's not just a case of people scalping shit and then selling it at a really high price. Or even then, that other job opportunity I mentioned, where you acquire memory from said data centers. So yeah, there is a lot going there, and I think it really does take a company to, especially a big one, multi-billion, perhaps trillion even, to actually go out there and do something good for once, to benefit people. And also, if there's no buyers for personal computing, much like everyone's going to see the physical impact of, whether it's Xbox, Microsoft and Sony, or even Nintendo, or whatever personal computing there is out there, even pre-builds and custom builds, they're all going to feel the breadth of this, because that is what's going to happen. It's going to become too expensive, they'll lose business, they'll start to blame the companies and hopefully sue them, because I think that is absolutely necessary at this point and warranted, and sue them for the money that they need. That's how they do it. And then you also have a win on your hands if you can succeed in that and get cheaper prices and make it affordable and accessible. It's a no-brainer. It goes without saying. And again, we really need something like this now. Not in next year. Literally now. Something needs to change. And also, I saw people saying something like the demand for memory modules and stuff is really high, but the supply is really low. I don't know how true that is, to be honest, because to me it seems like a very simple thing. Unless you have to like age it or something, I don't know why they can't just increase the supply now. Or maybe it's something I'm not understanding. But I remember hearing this shit from Gamer's Nexus where they investigated the RAM cartels, which sounded extremely fucking dark. Like, it actually was surprisingly dark, given what it was sort of implying there. But it's literally a cartel. They literally kill people for competition. And it's so fucking shady, and this is why companies need to hold them accountable. Actually sue them and stuff, so that things can get fixed and things can be better for the average person. And it's going to be a matter of time before even citizens and stuff start to sue, because what are you going to do without a phone? What are you going to do without a personal computer if you're working on that? What are officers going to do without a fucking personal computer? Again, these things come back to bite them in the arse. So there is a ton of issues that just come with this. And companies really need to pay attention now. This is like some of the worst times we're in at the moment. And what we really need to see is a change. We need to see things cheaper. It's like, to put it simply, to put everything simply, things need to be cheaper, things need to be accessible, and things need to be for the benefit of the customer. Not AI, the customer. Two different things. So that's obviously what you need to do to win in this economy and to keep personal computing alive. And I don't care who it is, whatever the big RAM manufacturers are. I only remember a few of them for some reason, like SK Hynix, I think. I forgot the other ones. Great, and I need to check myself. So anyway, let's move on to the next topic. You wanna know something? Again? No? Oh, I'll touch it. I want to talk about this thing. I'm sort of inspired by Zach's tech turf about this topic, but I think that it's really fucking annoying when people have given me advice on building PCs, PC hardware, obviously, like picking the parts and stuff, and it's like they suggest a over the board system, and that's not what I want. In fact, the only thing in my system that is really important at the moment is memory and CPU. Both of these are crucial to my daily use of it for music, art, and no doubt Blender in the future, which will be artwork instead. Just I'll find an easier way to make 3D art. But I just find it so annoying when people suggest getting a video card that's way more capable than it really needs to be. Because I don't have a need for it. Sure, the 9070 XT by AMD is actually really good, but I can't justify it because what it does is it makes 1440p gaming doable at a much higher setting, and to me, I'm not fussed about that. I'll be honest, I like 1440p gaming, but it's not a priority to max out the settings, and this is the part where I differentiate from many other gamers. I like good looking games, but it's not my priority. I want to play a good game first and foremost. When I played Cyberpunk on this RTX 3070, I had to turn ray tracing off to begin with because I couldn't run it properly. This is like the worst generation of RTX, I think. Or maybe second worst, actually, if you can say there's a worse. It barely did anything for RTX and the ray tracing, I mean. And even path tracing this, but that was later, I think. You know, when I played Cyberpunk, it was okay as a game, but I didn't need the massive settings on it. I adjusted it to be like high texture, decent post-processing, and nothing else really. It didn't need ray tracing, it didn't need much else to have happen to it, so that ended up being, well, what we know it now to be. Also, it's strange how Final Fantasy 14 just launched just the moment I opened Task Manager to stop it. That's funny. That took 5 minutes to fucking launch, I swear. More proof I need a new PC, I think. But yeah, it really annoys me when I get the advice. I certainly get it, you know, when it comes with, like, with regards to, what do you call it? Like getting good hardware. And, you know, PC Master Race, as much as I like the subreddit, it is a bit like that. It's a bit elitist when it comes to the suggestions. Because I had people question why I wanted a 9800 X3D. My response was not to go overboard and to use it for production purposes as well. But then, obviously, me being a 4040p gamer, it makes sense that someone explained to me later, or probably on another subreddit, that I didn't need a 9800 X3D for gaming, which is a good point. And so I got suggested the 270K Plus from Intel as a CPU, which is a really good suggestion, and I honestly really appreciate that, because that's actually what I'm going for. Even though the motherboard needs a Q-Flash BIOS update, I'm willing to do that. But why then did people say that I need like a CPU like this? Like, I don't understand exactly. So it's a bit silly. I know you do just need a good CPU for gaming anyway, 6 core to 8 cores. But that's even at 4040p, it's not just 1080p where it's more reliant on processing. Just use it throughout. And admittedly, when I had played Cyberpunk, my CPU carried me through that as well. I have a 5800X at the moment, non-3D obviously. But this is what I mean. This is what happens when you oversuggest, and when I was getting advice for this PC actually, people suggested like a decent RAM, like 4x8 sticks and 3600MHz CL13 latency, I believe. It might have been 14 actually, it's like pretty fast. But it's showing its age and I need to upgrade. But when I was obviously making the specs for this new one, I was like bordering between this RAM crisis and thinking, what can I do? I don't want to go overboard, but I don't want to go stupidly high, and nobody ever suggested the 270k plus, which was an important thing, by the way, because the 270k plus actually leads you down a rabbit hole of memory, and that rabbit hole happens to be cheaper memory. For the 2x32 kit that I was getting for my AMD CPU, like a 90, I think it was a 9700X I wanted before this, when I decided to give up the 9800X 3D. But that requires CL30, CL30 2x16GB RAM, or 2x32 in my case, and that would be enough, and 6000 MHz obviously. And that would be the bare minimum. And that was £1,000. Are you kidding me? But with the ones I'm looking at now, which is 2x24 instead, I'm actually getting a better deal. 72,000 megahertz and CL34, which is much faster than that, and for the processing power it's also much better. And there's also that potential to upgrade in the future. So again, whoever suggested the 270k plus is a fucking goat. Like, what the hell? It came out of nowhere and I'm surprised. It genuinely seems like the best CPU I could get, because even though 4040p gaming, it's good for the other stuff. It's good for processing, it's good for that, and I honestly get fed up when things just process too slowly. So it is important. That's why I bring this stuff up. It's also very interesting. But then this goes into the video card, because as I mentioned before, earlier just in this, I said that I don't want to focus on maximum settings in gaming, and that is still true. But what people don't realise is I don't want a video card that goes all out like that. In fact, if the RX 9050 wasn't such a joke, it would be a consideration depending on what it delivers, obviously. But legitimately, a card to replace this as a similar performance or better is definitely a must, and obviously as AMD have made strides in their sort of video cards and processing and stuff, I think it's sort of absolutely necessary to get a newer generation card before obviously they disappear, and then I'll have that future-proofed for a while. The thing with the 9070 XD is that I'm getting too much power for 1440p, being able to game anywhere from 60 to, I think that I can't remember what the average was on Hardware Unbox, but they have like an average frame rate chart for 1440p, which is really helpful, because it shows everything for each card, and also cost per frame compared to that is very interesting, and the cost per frame for the 9070 XD rather is much better than the 9060 XD. However, I'm not going to go for the 9070 XT. I decided I don't really care. Yeah, gaming at 4040p is important, but I'm not gaming that much. Because here's the twist. I'm not going out there and this fucking music from neighbours annoying me. I'm going to put noise cancelling on at some point. Actually, white noise. White noise is a bit better. It seems to be more effective, and I can hear things near me. I don't know. But I'm not gaming at max settings. Like, the only thing that's stress tested my video card recently for RTX 3070, which, by the way, to repeat, all my components are damaged through power outages. So it's not helpful, really. I don't really know how to avoid that. I don't want to risk on those power systems. Even then, it's had so many power outages over the years, it's been kind of nuts. By my count, including the first place I lived in, probably about 16 times now. It's been cut off randomly, and I've had to turn it off even a few times, like from the back. It's really frustrating. But this is what we're looking at here. I'm not looking for max power, as I keep saying. It just seems unnecessary. I'm not playing fucking Crimson Desert. I'm not playing even like some of the most graphically intensive games at the moment, it's not even a priority for me. It's like on the lower list of games I play, so oftentimes it comes back to this, like Final Fantasy XIV, Deep Rock Galactic, perhaps Mecha Chameleon, but also in the future I've got other games to try. I've got strong consideration games here, which involve Aircom, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, Doom Dark Ages, RB Intensive, Entropy Center, Ikone Island and Earthlock Adventure, Portal Stories Mail, Revenge of the Savage Planet, that might also be taxing, Sonic X Shadow Generations and the Talos Principle. All those I want to play, and that'll really task my GPU. But I don't want a graphics card that overcomes its settings like it's putting in nothing. Ugh, I don't know where these hiccups came from. Again, I'm just not fussed. And even though I could happily save up for a 9070 XT, the problem is I don't want to risk getting that. And for the price as well, and given how things can go wrong, I don't really want to do that. I think the more expensive a component is, obviously the RAM being the most expensive here, and storage, I think the more likely it would be to go wrong, and so I don't even want that. For what an experience I would have, like playing at high graphics settings gaming, it's just not worth it. There isn't any point. The price to performance ratio, the average frame rate, again, there's just no point. The upgrade, as far as I know, I need to try and look at it again. It's quite minimal, so I don't need to care about that. I'm not playing AAA games, I'm not playing even AA games all the time. I'm just playing standard old games and stuff. They should just open the hardware box thing, and it's not got the 9070 X2, which is annoying, I don't think. But yeah, price to performance, you got right at the bottom there, high is better. The RX 66,000, although there's a lower frame rate, maybe not actually. No, that's actually higher. And 67,000 XT, 6700, whatever. And there's like a RTX 4060 Ti, RTX 3060 Ti. That was actually my first choice of card, fun fact, when I got this system. But they didn't have it in stock, so I had to pick between a 3070 and a 3060 standard. And given the Gamers Nexus review of the 3060, noped. I noped right out there. I went with the 3070. It's not a bad choice. I think I made the right decision there, except for the scalper crisis, obviously. I think every problem with my previous system was fucked, so I needed that. Yeah, this is kind of the thing I'm talking about here. It's like choosing the card, and it doesn't really matter. Again, it depends on your use case, but AAA gaming and max settings is not a priority, and it shouldn't even bother people, to be honest. Because back in the day, I'm sure most gamers know this from PC gaming back in like the 2000s and 2010s early. You have to make do with what you got. My first Dell system, my personal computer, first one ever, it had a GT640 in it, and it barely ran anything. And then I got a GTX 970. It ran a fair few games, but not enough. And then obviously I went from a drastic upgrade, missed 3 generations, supposedly like 10, 11, or 10, 2, I think, yeah. So that's just 2 generations, technically. And the 30 series. And yeah, you often don't really need the upgrade anyway. And with how graphic intensive and how easy it is for things to perform now, you don't exactly need it. Let's look at the 9070 XT anyway, hardware unboxed. Finally done it. Sure. I want to see, like, what's the cost per frame. Apparently lower is better. 9070 XT is right at the top, but that's not lower, is it? Actually, yeah, lower is better, yeah. But it's like neck and neck with the 7700 XT, the 5070, 7800X, and where is the 9060 XT if it's on here? It's not. So I don't know. It's all hard to say. You know, even then, it could be a random pivot that I have randomly where I go with, and this is at 4K. Like 9070 is better at 4K. Like I'm not wanting that. Even then, high frame rates are more important to me as well. I like good graphics, but I like high frame rates too. So I don't want to go with a card that's like stupidly good. 7800 XT even looks decent. The 7700 XT looks decent. It's kind of what we need. I don't know if they have 4040p for gaming average, cost per frame MSRP. Yeah, that's not really relevant. So people like the cost has gone up for that card. 9070 XT used to be $600, which translates to about 520 quid. Now it's about 650. So yeah, hasn't aged well. Yeah, not worth it in my opinion. An RT average, I'm not fussed about ray tracing to be honest. Yeah, that performance here on 70 XT is quite low compared to the 5070 Ti in 4K. So 1440p average. Oh, so they did all those tests, okay. But still around 9060 from what I could tell. There's a 3080 on there, RTX 38. Yeah, again, I'm not even sure if it's worth it. Again, the frame rate is extremely high, but you have to remember that these are extremely high settings as well. So what you're seeing here is really stress testing the video cards. So they play Dying Light 2, Cyberpunk 2077 for Phantom Liberty. It's neck and neck with 5070 Ti. It's got the RX 7900 there as well. There's still an RTX 3080 on there. It's still performing well. And this isn't even with ray tracing, it seems. This is just for Cyberpunk. So again, we get to this point that I've been mentioning. Well, also 3070 is 67 FPS, nice. But this 9070 is like twice the performance of that. So yeah, maybe I could go with it. But I'm not getting it for these stupidly high settings, and I'm not going to use the stupidly high settings anyway. Again, the same with ray tracing. I thought when I got the RTX 3070, it might be useful to have the, what do you call it? The ray tracing cores, but it turns out it's not. I've only ever played 2 games with ray tracing. Portal RTX and Cyberpunk. That's it. The amount you actually use ray tracing, whatever, it's very minimal. So you don't even need to invest in that. You just need better performance for the card, and so I could sacrifice the ray tracing cores for much better performance, but I don't want a stupidly high price either. So the no-brainer becomes the 9060 XT once again. I know it's not recommended, but what choice do I have? I don't want a stupid overboard card. In fact, I could even go with a RTX 3080, you know, as a stretch, but again, I'm not fast. I don't want the higher settings, and so an RTX, like, to put in comparison, compare the 9060 XT with high settings versus medium. Then we'll see the difference, because I think that's really the test, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's really where you see things different. I remember back in the day, cracking out those settings and seeing the FPS drop from like 30 to about 5. It's just unplayable. And that was just with the GTX 970. But obviously these days it's less of an issue. And that's kind of the point. You don't need to game at the max settings and you don't notice it. And I wish people would stop suggesting that. I think we need to ask more, if I'm not mistaken in it obviously, about trying to get the right settings for the right person, the right sort of comfort zone. So instead of asking, oh, what do you game at? What resolution? 4K. Oh, get an RTX 5080. Don't do that. That's stupid. Ask what settings they plan to play at for most games and what they're comfortable with. say if they're, like, ask if they're willing to go to ultra or high or medium or even just low for those weirdos out there that play on 4K low. Sure, but we need to make suggestions based around that, not this fucking elitist mindset of, yeah, you need a better graphics card to run higher settings. Like, go away. That's a fucking joke. I honestly can't believe this shit sometimes. It's just so unbelievable to me. I just don't like those suggestions, and again, the only useful suggestions I've had in a lot of this, actually, as it turns out, is just those. Again, the RTX 9070 XT may be a choice for me, but RTX 9060 XT performs just as well. But I'm just wondering about the cost per frame and stuff, how that compares, and you know, I wonder if there's a better source for that. I could always try and look it up after this. But I think that's important to take into account. And again, I'm not doing high settings, so even something that's performing an average frame rate that's less than obviously the others, but has a better cost per frame, that's far better. It's like if the RX 9050 did the 1440p performance much better than the 9060 in terms of cost per frame, and then the average frame rate is lower. Honestly, that'd be fine, assuming they do like a 16GB model and it's obviously an XT, because who knows, you probably need that. Yeah. Anyway, that's another tech discussion. Sort of rant as well. Just stop making useless suggestions. It's my advice. Ask for settings, ask for resolution. That's all you need to know. Anyway, let's move on. So, I finished my Accumula Town cover. Yeah, and this one was actually recorded on an actual guitar, well, for three of the arrangements. The only reason I do that is because it's time saving. I really cannot put the time into learning a harmony and even just a secondary lead riff unless it becomes like a primary part, as in it's at the forefront. But yeah, I want to explain some things about that because I found some interesting things out. Turns out I need a rhythm harmony as I suspected to get the notes I cannot otherwise play just in one chord or just are impossible to finger. That's what he said. Yeah, you heard me. It's just, that's like a complication with that. That's because Accumula Town has so many jazz chords in it. It's actually kind of insane. So you end up needing to make it possible to play it. I don't know how to explain it exactly. You need to play it some way. And so the best solution then becomes, well, that, does it? It just becomes another thing entirely. So, yeah, the harmonies is important, and then with the leads and stuff, I was expecting I'd suck at it more, but it turns out it was fine. The lead rather is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Someone's asking me about the good idea. Yeah, so these were fun to record though, because it was like learning a track, and it was a very fun track to learn actually. The melody is quite easy to play on guitar. It's certainly one of the easier ones, and even the part where it goes into the chorus, or chorus, it's jazzy. Yeah, that was fun. The clean chorus, I forgot about that actually. I made that intro. It wasn't great, but it do. Played the guzzling a bit on that. Did play a guzzling, to be clear. Yeah, it's just been a fascinating experience and a lot of splicing. And I recently discovered that I could basically render each audio track as a clean audio track. So what I've done is I've backed it up in my cloud, so I have the plain audio, the direct input. In fact, I need to double check that because maybe it hasn't. Let's see, R1 audio, R2 audio, did the harmonies together, but it has like the harmonies together. Yeah, it's definitely backed it up and it's even panned. You can really hear the splicing though. I did so much of that during this. But it's really hard though, because I'm playing the 60 to 80 millisecond delay, and that just becomes a challenge in itself. So it's not easy. People need to understand that. It's certainly not an easy thing to do. I'm hoping this audio interface here will at least allow me to be able to get zero delay, or at least minimal delay, if not zero. I played Rocks before there actually, and it's actually in sync this time. I don't know what happens. What's changed exactly? I have no clue. Yeah, a lot of recording things here. It seems like it's going to be a thing. That's going to be a staple. Admittedly, this is one of the harder tracks to record because I have to learn every single chord shape. If I learned track and force, it'd take me months, I think. But this took me about a month, which is also really interesting. I imagine the rhythms will get easier as I go along, because I find styles and stuff to play and shapes I like. I already found one. I found that Lotus Forest one, I call it. I'll just call it the Xeon chord, because it is so amazing. Such a unique chord. So yeah, I'll do a lot of zeroing. And what else? I'm trying to think what the other things are. Rhythms, oh yeah. I had a bit of trouble with the tones on that. I don't know if anyone noticed, but it does peak a bit around the jazzy walking part I tried to do with the rhythm. And that was a problem for some reason, because I don't know what the hell is going on with the tone. I don't know why it's peaking around there. It shouldn't be, but it is. It is so confusing. So I had to edit the tone a bit and the EQ to change it a fair bit. Couldn't really find anything that worked, so ended up landing on that. And also in the final mix, I didn't realise the rhythm was quite loud, and I don't know how to address that. But it's meant for listening at a lower volume rather than higher, and I do notice a difference actually. People always say the mixing is wrong, but Autism says no. Essentially, it doesn't distinguish any difference in the mix. It's all the same. That's just the thing I've noticed over the years of doing this. There's always the same sound coming out of it, and the volume is barely relevant. I can't tell the difference between 5% and 7%, for example, but I can tell the difference between 5% and 15%. It's weird. A lot of it sounds the same to me. I literally have so many moments related to that. It's also equally frustrating. And yeah, I did obviously render the audio tracks separately, so there is a element of, oh, I could just delete these audio tracks from this file now and use it. I don't really like the idea of doing that, but it takes up so much space. That's the thing I fucking hate about it. I wish there was a tool where you can cut it and render it into a single audio track of the active parts. That would help with it, and also stop rendering it as a WAV. Fuck off. Like, why do you do this, FL Studio? That's such a stupid thing. I know you need the high quality, but you don't need it that high. MP3s suffice, especially for guitars as well, where you barely notice the difference. So yeah, and also I recently reviewed the Core KX508MS, so I shall be using that for my next cover. In fact, I'm still working on the original. That's taken a while simply because I haven't had time to do it. It's really a side thing. It's not a priority, and I can take days off for that. It's coming along nicely, I would say. It's not perfect, it's certainly got parts where I'm not happy with it, but other parts where I'm really happy with it. I actually think it has the potential to, again, sort of blow up a bit. It seems like it's a unique track, so it will no doubt get some attention. It's unique in the sense that it sounds a bit like Galnarius, but it's sort of got a different sort of vibe to it. I'm not sure how to describe it exactly. It's sort of heavy, I think. It's more symphonic as well, I have to mention that. Because Galnerius is symphonic power metal, but it is perhaps not as loud as others, I'll say. Still makes it really good, obviously, and I can't match CU, I cannot. There is no amount of shredding I can do that can even match that. It's insane. Yeah, recording is coming along nicely, I'm getting used to it. I'm learning to splice things and also learn by note matching rather than just by ear. Note matching actually seems better because you do start to memorise sort of where things are. I was playing in an E-flat standard stupidly, but that was by mistake because I wanted to do the original track in that. So yeah, it's very weird, very confusing at times. Then what else was there? I swear there was something else in this. Just recording is a thing. It's just better in a lot of ways, but worse than others. It's just a thing. I don't know how to describe it again. I'm just not fully with it. I'm never with it, to be honest. I just find myself tired and almost exhausted. I had a weird day today as well. I went out, weirdly enough, with family. I rarely do that. It turned out okay. I went to a place that had existed since childhood, a nice restaurant. Basically wish I didn't have to be anonymous. But yeah, there's some great places I would recommend if I wasn't anonymous. Anonymous? What? Androgynous. Androgynous. Tramampoline. And then after that, it was a weird situation. Somebody just needed to leave quickly. I don't know why exactly. There's so many weird situations that come off like family. I don't know what it is. It's always us for some reason. And weirdly enough, this is the thing. I had such a good day leading up to it. In fact, someone came around with a rescue rat, which was adorable. And you know, I've never seen a rat in real life, so it was actually very interesting. To be clear, it's not a rat with hantavirus. It's a rat that's rescued from a pet store, seemingly. So, yeah, it wasn't a bad thing, but a very cute rat. Again, I've never seen one in real life, and yeah, I was quite honoured, and it was a real delight to actually see. Probably one of the biggest things from the day, actually. Other than obviously going out and seeing family and also doing some shopping. Found some interesting bits, actually. Other than that, it was a decent day, but I knew the moment things started to go wrong that it was just gonna go wrong. I felt really annoyed about that. It just seems to happen all the fucking time. It feels like a cruel joke sometimes. It just seems like it happens too often. Like you literally have this situation every time, like leading up to like the restaurant and stuff. One thing went wrong there, and that's where I sort of knew it was going to turn. Although I did see like dead flies on the windowsill, which was very concerning. Ordered a pudding after a very filling lunch, and I decided pudding because why not? I had a vegan option, and it was decent. It wasn't the best one I've had, but it's decent enough. It's definitely doable if I'm hungry again, but I'd rather just have an extra portion of something else. Actually, they do another thing on the starter menu, I think. I'll have that next time. Yeah, and we ordered it, and it wasn't coming. We waited like 20 minutes. Like, where is it? I get there maybe one chef, but it doesn't take one chef to make this fucking dessert that's probably already made. So I don't understand. And then eventually went to ask, and they said, like, okay, well, make sure it's there. They didn't get the order for some reason, because we did it on an app. And then a few minutes later, I think the chef comes out, or someone related to the chef, maybe the bartender, cash register, I don't know, someone anyway, and said that the pudding I ordered was not in stock. Excellent. But luckily there was a similar one, and it was vegan, so I had that in the end. So that's when things started to go wrong. And obviously, it's pretty much fine. It's I ended up needing the toilet, and my cat has another fucking problem. I don't go to the toilet often when I'm out, and this was only because I had too much ice in my Coke Zero, and admittedly I had other person's ice as well because they don't have ice, and I sort of wish I remembered that. I'm trying to remember it for next time, because then I don't actually need ice added. And they also didn't add fruit to mine for some reason. I asked for fruit, but it didn't, so it's weird. So many weird things happen for some reason. It's only ever us, it's always our circle that it happens. I don't know what it is, it's like a curse. Other families, oh yeah, it's a good day, we never had anything go wrong. Us, it's just like everything goes wrong. Not sure why exactly, it's just things not in our control. Yeah, I went into the toilet and already someone taking a piss in the urinal, and I was like, nope. I went into the actual toilet room itself because I prefer privacy. I just don't feel comfortable. I know I've got an average size, but I don't fucking care really. I don't want to look at what others have. I don't even want to get ideas or anything. It's real shit. I don't like the idea of urinals at all. If I'm being honest, they need to just replace it with toilets. Just make it fair. And also, I found out something disgusting in that place too. The toilet was really stains on the seat. I don't know what the fuck was on it. Maybe shit, maybe sweat. I can't tell. It was disgusting, and also when I flushed it, there was water coming out the flusher. I don't know what the fuck that was. Again, it's gross as hell. I just don't like it. It's so shit. I don't like toilets in general, but I hate public toilets, and I hate that especially. Restaurant toilets, and this place was not clean, I could tell you that much. I don't know what it is. Anyway, after that, went shopping. Things went wrong at shopping as well. Again, there's someone leaving. That happening. Okay. It turns out it's an issue that was preventable if you just gave a shit. Excellent. And you made me worry for all that. Just feel so shit. I don't know what gets into people sometimes. It's not really shit talk, it's more like I guess a judgment call. I think that is the issue. Yeah, and after that I went home. That was that. So yeah, overall it went okay. Then I got home and then got my shopping inside and stuff, and it was fine until I tried to do a smart move. Tried to multitask things and unpack everything the best I can, and I struggled a bit, and that stressed me the fuck out. And other things getting in the way, getting something that turns out wasn't vegan, although that was given to me rather than actually just something I bought. I always be careful when I buy things. If it doesn't have suitable or isn't known, something like Oreos for example, then it's not worth it. I don't take the risk, it's not worth that. But that's a consequence of not labelling it. Like, companies need to understand that. The less you label these things, the less likely people are to buy them. It's just a fact. The vegan label does nothing. I think that's pretty much been proven anyway. Like, people can read. Who knew? Shocker. So yeah, that annoyed me. What else was there? I don't think there's actually anything else that happened today, to be honest. I just got delayed again and again and again. It really annoys me. Again, I'm sort of doing it now. I was like so behind, I got to edit a video and render it. Just already made idiot reviews as well for the core guitar. It's just some really fucking annoying things in these today. And then tomorrow I have to do some things. I have to immediately put some things in the wash and somehow go through a warm day with trousers on, which I haven't done in a while. But I have to do it because there just simply isn't any shorts. Like, I'm specifically meant to get some, but I can't afford it. It's so many fucking issues piled on top of each other. And also did that GPU thing, and small update on that, I'm just going with the RX 9070 XT. Because I did some research, and the best thing for like Blender, and even then for my work stuff, whatever I do in that, which would be anime, the renders aren't going to be stupidly high quality anyway. They're not going to be like these stress benchmarks. If anything, they're going to render in like seconds. So I'm not even looking for the high end. The RTX 5070, which even though it's tempting, I just don't need it. And I don't want to support Nvidia. Because they're going to AI stopify every fucking thing they touch, ever. So I'm not putting up with that. Yeah, fuck them. Like, literally piss off, make a good product, stop being AI. Stop pretending to be AI as well, because this seems to be what they're doing. It's a whole lot of fucking pretend. Like, they're not going to reach those heights, so just fuck off. Start making video calls again and you'll win. That's it. I mean, you'll be in the good books for most people. Yeah. What else? Is there anything else that's happened today? I don't know, I think it's pretty much everything. I can't even remember what this topic was about. Anyway, let's move on. Well, this was a thing, a topic that came up because Charlie was talking about it again. Okay, actually, it's actually one of the first times he's mentioned it from my recollection. And it's very concerning because it does relate to a thing that I do myself. And this is about how people just dislike games and want to dislike them. And I think that is very much true, but you have to understand why. Because I think there are things that tie into it. For example, I'm not someone who would be following the popular trends. You know, the only time I've ever done that is probably Mecha Chameleon, and that's because it was genuinely a fascinating game. One that I actually liked. And that was like a different thing entirely, because, you know, it's such a unique game that I wanted to try it, and I did, and I enjoyed it. That's kind of the thing here. You can't be exactly critical of people who are just against the general like popular trends, because there is a reason why. There's a reason why people are against it, and that's essentially what the reason is. Hang on, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, okay. I just find it really frustrating because when people see the Twitch streamers, and this is an important thing I'm mentioning that I do, but when I see in my Twitch streamers, obviously it's just Twitch streamers, but I see them play a game that's just not very fun or interesting, and I'm just like, okay, this is boring, I'm going to tune out. And that often happens. It's something like Project Zomboid, for example, which, you know, from the hours I've seen of gameplay, it just looks very awful. And it's not fun to watch, and so I just tune out. I don't exactly express my dislike of it through chat. It's something that I do keep to myself, but I merely am making a comment on it now. And it just genuinely looks boring. It's a typical survival slop, I think, and merely it has differences. Obviously it's top down and stuff, but it just isn't very interesting, and I end up tuning out of that. I just completely become unable to watch it. So I go to another stream, I see someone else like streaming, I don't know, dailies, which I don't really like myself either. And there's even other random niche channels that I'll just watch every now and then. So that becomes a thing that I do, just to get by when streams are just too boring. And it sucks. But this is why people hate games, and this is all the mentality I understand of it. I could be wrong, but from what I've like been around, from when I've been around on Twitch for over, I think almost 10 years now. It's actually kind of insane. I've been watching Twitch for 10 years. I think, was it just in TV before? I can't remember now. But I was watching it for that long. And what fascinates me is sometimes things just don't change. I think there used to be this attitude before. I could be mistaken, but I think even I had this sort of attitude where I'm just like, yeah, that this sort of sucks in a way, because people are just fed up of seeing the same games. The moment that something like LibreOffice came out, as Charlie mentioned as an example, people wanted it to fail. Like, to me, it wasn't an awful game from what I saw. But again, that's only from a visual perspective. And I can sort of understand why people get tired of seeing it, because everyone is playing it. You go to your Twitch stream, everyone you're following plays it, and then everyone in the suggestions plays it as well. So you just start to hate it, because now it's the new normal thing. And you reject it because it's so out there, it's so common. And you've seen it before. So you just don't want to invest in it, you don't want to have anything to do with it, let alone see it. It's not necessarily a hatred for the game, it's just a hatred of seeing it. Not to mention spoilers. So there are some people who want to play these games but can't because of, well, they want to play it but they don't want to watch it because of spoilers. I think that's literally what it is, that's all it is. And so I don't think it is 100% a hatred for games, it's just a hatred for seeing them played. Not to do with the games themselves, it's just seeing them played. I try to think that last night, what was I watching? So yeah, I was watching HC Justin and stuff playing Lego Party. Let's say, I can't remember if it was. And then he moved on to Pathogenics, or whatever that new game is called. And I immediately zoned out. As you can probably expect, it's not a very engaging game, and yeah, it's not too fun to watch, in my opinion. So that's sort of how I rate things anyway, but then I tune out, I go to a different stream for a while, and then I start to, I think I actually listen to music, I don't know. Wait, what did I do in that time? I was watching a different stream, I think. Hang on, Control H history, can't see anything. Yeah, thanks, Switch, I guess. I don't know what I did then. Strange, there seems to be a gap there. Though I think I tuned out to do something else and then came back and watched the stream again. Because they were playing Jackbox later on. I was like, okay, that seems fun. And it was. It's actually pretty funny this time. And after that, the stream ended, and then I went to watch Shadow at Noon and stuff, and she was playing Macadamia with a bunch of other folks. Yeah, this is a thing that people like me do, and you have ADHD, and also definitely a sort of autism where you can start to reject things that are very popular. You start to realise you can't watch the same thing all the time, every time. You have to have breaks in between, but you also just don't want to see some things. It's sometimes too bland for what you're looking for. Like, as I said with Project Zomboid, it's just boring as fuck, and I've seen things like Factorio, is it? Or was it? It might be Rimworld actually, but Factorio I think is another one. But those sort of games also are just incredibly boring. They're just not fun to watch. Unless there's like a specific gimmick, like for example if someone's playing OpenTTD, which actually is kind of funny with people. But weirdly enough, there's always games with people that actually make it more fun. Very rarely is a single player game actually fun to watch. I don't know why that is exactly. It certainly can be. I've seen it done before. But yeah, it's just less likely, and that's why people have this inherent hatred for games like this. It's not the games themselves, it's just the way that people obviously are all playing the same thing. It's the same thing when we're going to see GTA 6 come out, and apparently that's not behind the subscription. The gameplay trailer, I mean. Yikes. They're obviously hiding something, and I sort of think I was right in my suspicions, like the fact we haven't seen gameplay yet is one of the most concerning things about it, and that's probably the main reason why I'm just not looking forward to it. Even though the graphics that they showed in these seemingly generated trailers, they looked insane. But I have a feeling it's not going to reflect the same in reality. And also it's a console game, so whatever we're going to see on console is going to be a downgraded version. Which is kind of sucky, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what else there is. I swear there was another thing I was going to mention, but I can't remember what it is. Also, it's not like, yeah, it is. Yeah, there's just so many sucky things around, it seems. Not to mention just these attitudes too, and I agree that people shouldn't be so harsh on games. The games themselves, regardless of whether you like them or not, like GTA 6 may be one of the best games ever made. You never know. But I hold my reservation until I see, one, the gameplay, and two, the full release. Those two criteria have to be met so I can make a proper judgment, and that's the rational way to do it. Because I think people jump too quickly to conclusions about games, and yeah, it's very much true, and actually it reminds me of my story, as what I was going to mention. I remember looking into Deep Rock Galactic. A friend suggested it to me. I thought, you know what, I might give it a shot. I might see what it's like. And looked at gameplay and I thought, this is boring as fuck. Who would want to play this? And so I got around to playing it, tried the single player, and I hated it. It wasn't fun. I was just down there mining Morkite for like half an hour to about an hour on a tutorial mission, I think, and it just wasn't great, it wasn't engaging. And I was a bit confused, and I looked at another review to see what they say, and it mentioned that playing co-op and stuff, I think it's skill up actually, but saying the co-op experience was like the core of the game, and so I tried it, and what do you know? The co-op was actually insanely fun. It's just, I think there's like a social aspect to it which makes it so great, and on top of that you've got the memes as well. The memes like pinging the compressed gold, or pinging each other, pissing off mission control and stuff. Even like bringing director's heads to the drop pod after an escort mission. But you start to learn those things and it becomes extremely fun. You start to love it in the end, and look at the previous judgment on the game. Obviously I was wrong. I don't think I can really take it back because it actually was a fair assessment of that current situation. I was playing it single player, I was playing it the way it wasn't meant to be played, seemingly. Then I played it the way that others play it, and it's actually good. It all reminds me a bit of, like I suppose 2014 for example, where we have a lack of proper like DLC every now and then, and we just don't have the proper support for it, it seems. So when players say that LibreOffice 2014 is the best game, they're not referring to it as a base game. In fact, it is a good base game, but it's even better when you get custom DLC and even certain mods, and that changes your perspective on these things. That's why this is important. That's why we need to talk about this, I think, a bit more, because these do have an inherent impact on things. They do change things for the better here and there. I think that really needs to be said, and people need to be aware of it too, because I think that's the only way that things will change in that situation, if I'm not mistaken. You just try things for yourself and see what you like and dislike. And I think that's really the gist of it. there isn't really anything else to it. I can't think of anything. So yeah, I don't know what else to add. So anyway, let's move on. So this is a new thing I found out recently, and someone made it more complicated than it needs to be, but of course they're somehow out of nowhere. Just, they have an article on this which is really simple. And I'll read it out now and see if I can learn anything new. A QVO or qualified vendor list is provided by motherboard manufacturers and lists memory kits that have been tested to work with a specific motherboard model. QVLs are generally updated when the new BIOS revisions are released. QVLs are a great resource when researching memory compatibility, as they guarantee compatibility from the motherboard manufacturer for a specific CPU, motherboard and DRAM combination. However, QVLs may be limited as motherboard manufacturers may focus on selections of kits from different memory manufacturers or new memory kit is released after the latest QVL revision. With this in mind, you may find memory kits that are not listed on the QVL but are still compatible with your chosen CPU motherboard combination. And yeah, honestly, it's really interesting. I'm not going to lie, I didn't know this was a thing. Because I only found this because I was looking for a site that sold the memory that I planned to get, but obviously I have to buy it on finance because it's unaffordable in my price range. Essentially the money that it's asking for is stuff that I have to pay. So, I'm kind of fucked in that sense. It takes up one payment for the specific memory kit I need, which isn't even the high performing one, just to get my system new one obviously to perform. So obviously I have to go with something that's affordable. And I would go lower, to be fair, but it's not looking very possible. Because I need the extra bandwidth and obviously I need the extra memory in itself. Because I would have happily gone with 64 gigabytes, for example, but I can't, and that's because it's unaffordable. It's a simple reason why. This just all sucks ass. Like, it's just so bad. I hate this situation. There was something else I wanted to talk about relating to this. But everything here is just, it feels so awful at the moment for PC building and stuff. And I'm trying to figure out on PC building simulator, because I actually have that in my library. I wanted to see if I could build my PC in there. Admittedly, building a PC in there is still useful to begin with, because it means that you can actually most likely just be able to build a PC the way you're supposed to, and honestly knowing how to install an NVMe and stuff is quite useful. Building my exact system, although just the components, to be fair, would be useful, although I did find an issue. I did build one briefly because I can't find the right components, and that's the first issue. But the second one is, I think the fan controller. For some reason you don't have to plug in the fans, which I know you have to plug them in the Noctuas anyway. So I don't know what the hell happened there exactly. If the game bugged out or what. It's very weird. I don't know what is going on today, or with this game even. It feels so bizarre. Yeah, I was trying to think what the other thing was. I think it was important. So, I don't know. Actually, why don't I go through the history? That sometimes will help. Let's see, motherboard. Nope. No, don't think so. No, I can't see it, which is annoying. Yeah, another PC hardware update, I suppose. Just unintentionally. This is necessary, and obviously QVO and stuff. That'll be very handy, because I didn't even know about that, because I thought, well, what's this memory I've never even heard of? Like Team Group, and it turns out, obviously, doing the research and stuff, I didn't actually know this is how it works, so I've been very ignorant of this whole time and not really understanding, but these like big brand names like SK Hynix and whatever the other ones were. That's the only one I can remember for some reason. They all produce the RAM modules themselves, and then companies like Corsair and G-Skill or Trident or whatever it is. Well, it's G-Skill Trident technically. But also Team Group and whatever ones are out there, HyperX probably. You know, all them produce the heatsinks and RGB and stuff. So yeah, I think that's very interesting. I didn't even know that before. I just thought and assumed that these were companies instead. But for some reason, everyone else was just up in the price for some reason. But no, it makes sense now. But I will say, whatever company it is, I think you do have a missed opportunity to make like crashes and waves, I suppose, in a way. I don't know if that's the correct term. By offering cheaper memory and cheaper systems and stuff. Like, you literally have that opportunity, so you should take it. You know, offer cheaper and you get Reaper? What? No. I don't know, I was trying to think of a saying. I just think that this entire situation sucks still. Anyway, let's move on. Well, I made it, despite its directions. Yeah, I made the PC in PC Building Simulator finally. But it's not perfect, I'll admit, because of the simulator itself. I can't even find the components I would have, which is a bit shit. I kind of wish it was more regularly updated, and they haven't done an update for 3 years now, which is, but it's kind of really indicates that the community needs to do something then about it, like as in they need a workshop that actually offers the necessary stuff. So if someone wants to add the Meshify 3, for example, which I'm using, why not? You can't even find any sort of things in the workshop at the moment because it's all wallpapers. Even then, it's just Guna wallpapers. Got like Genshin Impact, Sexy Elf, Linus, Pepsi Dog, the Ramburger, Walter White, Gloria. What the fuck? What's this? Is this just straight up hentai? Oh no, it's just a position. It looks like a penis. Yeah, again, it's very bizarre, but there's nothing to do with the game here. Nothing, which really fucking sucks. And I wish there was. I just wish there was a thing there, like being able to, obviously, do that properly to show the components that you actually want and have, or want to have in there. Even then, just from images, like, no doubt you can pull some up and make a crappy like block image. That would work perfectly still, because it gives you a good idea of what to make, essentially what to make changes to. And yeah, the system I built looks decent. It doesn't look terrible, I could say that much. And I thought about getting a black back fan so it sort of matched the components inside. I think with everything else in there and stuff, it might look a lot better. And I think it's a good choice to, again, go with this black and white sort of theme, I think, for the most part. I think it will look decent, and yeah, be one of the first times I've had a proper RGB system as well. Yeah, I also kind of miss this game because it's actually really useful for building. I managed to do it well first try. I missed a few bits, but easy to iron out, and I wouldn't make them in real life, obviously, because I'd go for a step by step. But it's sort of interesting to see how you'd make it, like literally. Like plug in all the things as different steps and whatever, and it'd be useful to reference it to. So it'd be great to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to play any more of it until I obviously get components. I'm still pretty much decided on the one I've got, and I did try to do a bit of research into video cards. And if I'm being entirely honest, let me look. Let's see what Scan sells. Or like Scam. fucking... No, they're actually fine. Can I actually access it? Won't verify me for some reason. It's weird. I don't understand, I'm not a fucking bot. Very weird. Yeah, let's look at like what they have. Because I'm getting fucking sidetracked again. It's so annoying. This keeps happening. Gaming and Sims, components, GPU, AMD gaming, GPU and video gaming. Sucks. They don't do Intel gaming for some reason, but I suppose it's just the Intel Arc, which is shit. So why don't they have a price thing? Let's do cheapest, price low to high, and AMD price low to high. They only sell 9070 XTs here. Oh wait, no, it's because it's stupid layout, it's actually not that. They do a standard 9070, they do a Gree, don't like the Gree 9060 XT, which also looks pretty decent. And the only other few cards they have is a 7900 XT, 7600, and a 6750. Sure, that's a name. Just not great in my honest opinion. Like the prices are still shit, and the fact there's no cards or like the 7600 here, they're not like 16 gigabytes, and they're not even below 200 or 300 quid rather. It's still not great, and even then it's a 6750 with 12 gigabytes. It's still not great, so it's a bit far behind in my opinion. And look at the Nvidia stuff, 5090 is like 3,000 quid. Fucking hell. I don't even want to risk that because I've heard the connector sort of burns and stuff because it's drawing so much power. Like fuck that. 5080 is like 1,200 quid. RTX 5070 Ti is 860 quid, up to 900 and 1,000. 5070 is just 574 quid. It's a bit like color tugging, and 5060 Ti, 469 quid, 470. I'm ignoring the 8 gigabyte ones, and they don't do any other high VRAM cards after that, which is shite. Wait, did I say that right? It's RTX 5050, okay. I was going to say, though, why are they selling an RTX 5080 with 8 gigabytes? That's weird. Sell water blocks, yeah, not fussed. I remember the trend of water-cooled systems like in 2018, and they're cool and all, but they break easily and spell disaster. I've seen so many people say that they've had disasters with it. It's just not worth it. Even if you're an overclocker, it's just not worth it, I don't think. Just too risky, too dangerous, and so, yeah. But I think in terms of the cards so far, I wonder if I could Games Access video cards benchmarks, maybe. But the main thing is that I want to see both performance and Blender as a comparison here. So I want to see how well they do, and that shouldn't be hard to find exactly. And mega charts, oh yeah, I forgot about this, they did mega charts with egg on top because they're trying to poison AI. Yeah, they've redone it. Yeah, obviously at the top, Dragon's Dogma 4K Max, 4090 is still up there, 5080 is there, 5070 Ti is up there. About the 5070, because that's something I would be interested in if it runs well. Not 100% sure. So just the other stream, someone just ran over a person with a game, I mean, not a real person. Unfortunately, just kidding. The RX 9070 XT is still looking like the best option in a ways, but the 9060 XT is also tempting just because it's a bit cheaper. Did they even test the 5070? I guess they didn't because of the 8 GB. 5070, oh there it is. Yeah, it performs well. It's not as good as the 9070 XT, which is interesting. Maybe just the RX 9070. Yeah, again, I was sort of on the fence about sort of card to get here, and I'm interested to see what they say about the processing and stuff with was it Blender? Because Blender, I found out recently, I did do some research, seems to rely on mainly the memory aspect of video cards, but it can also rely on other parts, so that does matter. Did see a good benchmark from somewhere, I can't remember the name. It showed pretty much all cards that were relevant in Blender workloads, and it does have an impact, and surprisingly, like AMD were losing in that, but weren't the worst. And so I had a thought, and I realised that actually I don't even need to go that high for my card either. I'm just verging between the RX 9060 XT and the 9070, but only because I don't need the extra performance like people seem to think I need. I almost asked a question as well on PC Master Race, but I didn't, luckily. But everyone there is like obsessed with trying to get the most out of the performance and get the most graphics out of it. Whereas I'm just happy to tune things down. I've done that since childhood, I'm used to it. That's how I used to play games, and it's a normal thing. So I just don't generally care. It's fine, in my opinion, and I don't think anyone should have an issue with that, to be honest. Also, let's get a 9060 XT Mercury, I see. Oh no. Oh yes. That's actually a pretty funny card. It's actually nice and vibrant. That's cool as hell. I'll have that if I was going for a different theme build. Also, I need to go in game and go to an A-train quick. Let's fucking reset the search terms. I hate the PC part picker. It does this. Yeah. Just trying to think what I'd go for. It's probably like the XFX Mercury, but I don't know 100% sure. Sapphire Nitro is tempting. Swift OC was tempting. I don't know, I think the Mercury might be the best one, because I know from benchmarks there's only like a few contenders like Sapphire Nitro. Whilst tempting is ugly as fuck, it won't work. So I don't know about that. So I might just go over Mercury. So yeah, it's like longer GPU. There's insufficient space. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, else it's going to wall me because I've got both in the parts. Yeah, I think that's about it for parts and stuff as far as I'm going. So the same thing as before. I've changed the fan actually. How do I edit part list? So I'm here. I'm queer. God, I don't know what I'm doing. Case, that's it. Case fan. I'm gonna change the white momentum fan because I decided I'd change it out because it makes it look a bit better. The black momentum fan actually looks a bit better in the white case, which is very strange, but it does, from what I can tell. Also, why are they so expensive? For some reason, a multi-pack is far cheaper than the others. I don't know what the deal with that is. It's very weird. I need a single one anyway. 120, I'm assuming. Yeah, it looked like a pretty decent job, I think, and white RAM as well I'll go for, which is good. It looks great. I think that's about it for like the PC, and looking through parts to buy and stuff. Just try and get it before it obviously disappears or goes up in price again. Thanks XK Hynix and whatever the fuck names are. I'm so tired of it. It's very annoying. So yeah, anyway, you shall move on. Well, actually no, I should do a fucking outro. Yeah, I guess thanks for listening. I haven't really got any updates for anything else. It's just, yeah, everything's a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm still figuring things out and trying to get things done. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for listening, I guess, and see everyone next time.